Chapter 13. The Man in the Mirror. The bathroom fan whirred like a tired moth in a jar. Brian cupped cold water to his face and let it sting him awake. Droplets ran down his cheeks and into the stubble, found his collarbone, disappeared. He straightened and met his reflection. Same gaunt cheeks, same sleepless eyes, and then watched, heart hiccuping, as that reflection smiled first. "Morning, soldier." The towel went tight in Brian's fists. "I'm done with you." "Cute," the voice in the glass said, patient as a chess teacher. "But no, we share a skull. If you're breathing, I'm here." He steadied the towel on the rack the way you lay a knife flat. "You hijacked my life. I stepped in when you let go of the wheel." The smile thinned. "You remember the first time? The playground. Heat, asphalt shimmer, the smell of bleach from the lunchroom trash cans drying in the sun. Then Tommy Baird's palm thudding Brian's shoulder into chain link. Tommy was 13, all elbows and mean, breath like canned spaghetti. "Give me your money, crybaby." Brian remembered the copper taste in his mouth, the way his brain went white and noisy. And then the click, like a switch under the ribs, and something calm slid into his bones. His own hands took Tommy's wrist, not cruel, just exact, and turned it into compliance. Tommy's knees found the blacktop. A dozen kids fell silent. "Stop," Tommy yelped. "You were testing doors." The voice that wasn't quite Brian said, not loud enough for the circle to hear. "You found one that shuts." He let go. He walked away. The crowd parted like it had seen a magic trick and didn't want to get in the way of whatever made it work. "First time I drove," the reflection said now, almost fond. "He never touched you again." "You heard him," Brian answered the mirror. "I taught him consequences." Desert storm. The room smelled like bleach one second and burning diesel the next. Heat stacked the sky. Sand tried to file his teeth down. 21-year-old Brian hugged a busted wall while rounds chewed stone into powder. Lopez blinked grit out of blood-wet lashes and tried to grin. "Stay low," Brian shouted, the sound thin in all that roaring. "Low gets you lined up," the cooler voice said. "Count the rhythm. Pop, pop, pause. Pop, pause. Pop, pop." The pattern strung itself like beads. Brian rose in the pause without thinking, rifle already tracking, and sent 3 fat, disciplined answers across the street. A rooftop went quiet. He pivoted, corrected for wind, wrote another period on a sentence that needed ending. The world returned in layers, heat over noise over the rasp of his own breath. "You call it survival," the mirror said. "I call it what we are built for." Brian braced his palms on porcelain until the veins in his forearms stood out. "And when there isn't a war, there's always a war. Sometimes the uniform just looks different. The hospital night, antiseptic, cotton, the hush of an IV's drip, and the soft tides of a machine's sigh." Elise's fingers lay inside his like a cool river stone. Her auburn hair clung to her temples. Her smile fought its own weight and still won. "You need to tell them," she whispered. "They deserve to hear it from you." He shook his head because nodding would have shattered him. "Tomorrow." "There isn't a tomorrow," she said, and he watched the truth walk through her eyes. He didn't tell them in the morning. He poured cereal, rewound a cartoon, kissed each crown, and told himself he would say it when the words didn't feel like knives. He stepped into rain to buy muffins he didn't need. The world narrowed to the shine of coins and a knife's quick glint and the bright, wrong music of metal pinging off wet concrete. "Don't," Brian said to the mirror. And the mirror, for once, stayed quiet. They stood with that, both of them, like men leaning on opposite sides of the same door. The bedroom before the awards. Not the big award, the guild one with warm beer in plastic cups, and a host who made the same tired joke about practical effects dying while the room full of practical wizards smirked and kept the industry alive with their hands. The bedroom was a meadow of dresses, a bloom of blues and blacks. Elise in a deep ocean shade he would never stop dreaming about, pinning a curl behind her ear as she straightened his tie. "You keep pretending he's your villain," she said, studying the knot with priestly care. "He's you. He scares me." "Good," she said, smiling without mercy. "Me too. But I've watched him pull you out of burns I couldn't reach. Stop trying to bury him. Learn how to hold his hand. How? You set rules, she said, and kissed his knuckles. And you don't lie. A chord. The bathroom fan clicked down to a slow, breathy spin. Brian met his own eyes. The smile in the glass had lost its edge. Rules, he said. We try it your way, we drown in blood. We try it my way, we drown in grief. So we design a third way. We do, the reflection said. You aim. I execute. No civilians, no bystanders, no stray suffering. Only the ones who sign the harm. Only when the proof is real. We don't manufacture proof, Brian said. We find it. We show it. He studied the man looking back. The lines he didn't have 10 years ago, the new hollows under the eyes, the animal focus that came when the world grew teeth. He exhaled once and nodded. The mirror nodded too. Also, the voice added, lighter, eat something. You look like hell. You're me, Brian said, almost laughing. You look like hell too. We'll be gorgeous by nightfall. He left the bathroom. The mirror held his absence like a black door. On the kitchen table, a battered manila folder ringed by coffee stains. Inside, notes, clippings, a grid of names in blunt block letters. Jurors, clerks, a couple of small pins and string-like veins. Another thinner folder, corridor photos from the courthouse. Angles of cameras, blind spots. A third, a calendar lifted whole from social media, gym days, choir nights, poker Thursdays, for exactly one person. Number 7, the voice said from the doorway of his mind. Volunteer of the year, public saint, private, we'll see. We vet, Brian said. We don't touch until we know. He worked the way he always had when a build was due and the production clock was a judge. Steady hands, tidy lists, no panic. He pulled silks and silicone from the plastic bins he swore he'd stop opening. Mixed skin tones and a palette he hadn't needed since the last creature gig. He mapped hallways and security rotations, learned the night porter's cigarette brand, drifted the length of a block twice at different hours to watch how the street breathed. By evening, the city went soft and sodium orange. Someone upstairs laughed into a phone. Somewhere far off, a siren guessed at a note and held it. Brian closed the folder and felt that old grave click of a plan that fit the lock it was carved for. One more thing, the mirror said, voice nearer, almost at his shoulder. If I lean too hard, say your name. Out loud. My name? Brian, the reflection said, and the use of it felt like a blessing he hadn't asked for. Claim the wheel. He slid a coin, the old Marine Challenge coin Elise had once stolen for his keychain, into his pocket. Not for luck, for balance. He packed the bag, gloves, a camera that didn't talk to the internet, clean shirt, a small, serious box of wires that looked like intention and not rage. He palmed the door latch and paused, not from fear, but from a tenderness that came out of nowhere, gratitude he didn't know how to spend. Thank you, he said to the empty hallway, to the mirror behind him, to whatever in him had stopped fighting itself and started listening. You're welcome, the other said, and for once there was no smirk in it. The door eased shut. The latch kissed home. The fan in the bathroom spun itself to silence. In the dark square of glass, the smile lingered a second like a trick of light. And then it was only a mirror again, waiting as the man it belonged to stepped into the corridor and toward the next necessary thing.